In the misty valleys and shadowed peaks of the Great Smoky Mountains, something lingers beyond the veil of time. Whispers of past drift through abandoned towns, restless spirits roam historic ends, and ancient legends warn of things lurking in the dark. The halls of the Grove Park Inn hold the sorrowful presence of the Pink Lady forever searching. The forgotten ruins of Cades Cove and the ghost town of Proctor stand as eerie reminders of lives long lost, yet some say not entirely gone. And deep within the mountains, the legend of Spearfinger still chills those who dare to speak her name, a monstrous being with a heart of stone and a thirst for the unsuspecting. The Smokies are more than just a place of breathtaking beauty. They are a land of ghosts, mysteries, and stories that refuse to fade. I'm Ash, and I'm the daughter.
I'm Liz, and I'm the mom.
And this is The Lesser Know. I know, I'm always like, I don't get nervous, but like every time I do it, I'm like, I think I'm thinking like, okay, don't mess up, because it sounds really smooth, and then I mess up, and I'm like, oh. That one was smooth, and I almost messed up, but you wouldn't even know.
I did see you look at me twice. Were those
no, that wasn't when I was messing up.
Oh, okay.
No, that was just like
You're just taking a little peek, like.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't feeling well when I woke up in the morning. I've been like sick for like 4 days, and so when I woke up today, I was like, oh God, we probably should have recorded yesterday when I actually felt better. But
sick. You went out last night.
No, I know. No. It's not. It wasn't like I've been sick for like 4 days. Like I feel like I have a cold, and then today I thought I wasn't gonna have a voice. I was like, oh shoot, because now it's like in my chest throat area.
That's how I feel almost every time we record, but only my episodes. Yes, I just feel sick. I don't know why, because I always think that I'm like, oh, your episodes turn out so good, I'm in a better mood. But then when I do mine, I'm like grouch, and I just don't feel good. Well, in the last one, I was like actually really sick because I had like.
No, I remember.
Yeah. Like I had puked the day before, and then I woke up and I'm like, I don't want to do this.
And I remember I felt bad when we were recording, because I know it's like it's hard to like respond when you feel like trash. You know, you're like, oh my God, I feel so sick. But
I don't even remember.
But then I felt like awkward because I felt like I had to make up for the conversation. So I was being like, yeah, so like I did like a ton of that stuff. So
yeah, I'm sorry my sickness put you in an awkward position.
Yeah, you should be. So let's get into the question of the day. If you won the lottery, would you tell anyone?
I would tell certain people, I think. I would obviously tell you, because I think I just call you about everything and I'd be too excited not to. But I definitely wouldn't tell like anyone at drill or like my friends. Not that I don't trust them. Like I don't think they would ask me for stuff, but I just wouldn't want to be flaunting that around. You know, especially if there's people out there who like don't have a lot of money.
Yeah, they're struggling.
Because I don't want them to feel like, well, you're just like rolling in this dough, and I'm
that's like you don't understand me anymore. Yeah, because you have money and you don't. When I'm having my struggles, you don't understand. I never actually thought of it that way. That's like a good way to look at it. I just thought of it in the sense that I guess it's a little bit like that. Like, I just feel like I wouldn't want to tell everybody. I would just tell, like, you guys. Like, Adam said he wouldn't tell anybody. I mean, obviously me, because I would know, because I would have the ticket as well. But yeah, he said he wouldn't tell anyone. And I would definitely tell you guys. I would tell Graham. I would tell very, like, close people, but I'd be like, just don't say anything. And it's, you just, like, don't want everyone to know, because then it's like, I almost feel like you're under a magnifying glass after that, like everyone's kind of like watching what you're doing, and it's like, oh, must be nice, and I mean, I think there would be clues anyway. It's like, you've seen those memes, like, I wouldn't tell anyone I won the lottery, but there'd be clues, and like the person is living in like a house that's like shaped like a cat or something, or they have like 50 dogs, or So I think, I mean, some
50 dogs.
Yeah. So I would like actually have to tell you guys because I would help you out, you know. So it's like I can't just be like, oh, all of a sudden I'm able to pay off your house and move you out to Florida and you know.
Yeah.
So I would definitely tell you guys, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't like flaunt it either. Yeah, not cool. I would try to be like as normal as possible, but also make sure that I have my family close to me and travel.
Same.
Yeah, lots of travel.
Yeah, that's all I would be doing.
Yeah, well, it made me think about it because I was talking about how like I never do these, I never go to these national parks, but it would be nice to. And it's like, oh well, if we won the lottery, then we could just like, you know, go travel all the national parks. So it made me think of that question.
You know what I noticed? And sorry, this is off topic, but you know what I noticed in our videos? I hate my smile.
What?
I hate it. Yes,
What?
because my teeth are great and they're white. Yeah.
Very
But
white.
like, I know, but I have a crooked smile. It's
Let me see.
like it looks like I had a stroke on one side of my face.
Let me
Now I'm
see.
like nervous.
No, like
Well,
I
it's
think
not that
everyone does I think everyone does. 'Cause I noticed that about myself. Like I didn't notice it like in pictures and stuff, but I noticed it when we started doing videos. I'm like, I talk out of one side of my mouth more than the other, and I think
It's so
everybody does
weird.
that.
Well, it looks like this
Smile. Let
side
me
is
see.
working well, now it's not gonna do it because I'm smiling bigger, but it's like you'll see if I like if it's like
Now I'm
something that I'm
watching
like,
you.
yeah,
I'm watching
and then
your mouth now.
it like goes up like that. It just like I don't know. It's not when I big smile. When I big smile, it's fine, but
I think you're just a normal person. That's just like what we do. We're not perfect.
yeah, I mean no one's perfect, but like the smile, it just looks like half my face isn't working and the other half is. Like I can't even do it if I tried, but
Okay.
you'll see it later,
I'll
I'm
watch an
sure.
editing.
Yeah, just watch like right before I said it and I did it. And
Okay.
that's what made me
Because you
think of
saw
it.
it.
Yeah, because you'll see me look around like
Funny.
anyway.
Alrighty. Well, keep an eye out for that if you watch this on YouTube, anyone. So for national parks in the news, I had a hard time looking stuff up on there because I like feel bad about all the stuff going on right now. But I don't know if you saw that there's a new hydrothermal vent that emerged at Yellowstone's Roadside Springs, and they say it's a geothermal event, but there's no volcanic risk. So that's something
that's cool.
You've probably seen it. It's just like been popping up in the news. So I thought that was
so it's like a new geyser.
Cool. I guess it's like you know, like I mean, I feel like Yellowstone is like the coolest of the parks, right? Doesn't it seem like they're like so much like in the news and stuff, or maybe just people know more about it?
Well, it's one of the most visited, but I went at like a weird time because it was May, so I thought it would be a little bit warm and it was snowing. So I didn't like get to go to many places, and we tried to do it all in a day. So we drove like 3 hours to go there, and then we just spent like a lot of time like driving around, and then we went off a couple trails and saw a couple things. But I mean, it would have been very pretty, I think, if it wasn't for the snow, but I couldn't tell because of the snow. But there is a lot there.
It looked cold.
It was
like
very
super cold.
But I really wanted to see Old Faithful, which, by the way, I don't know if we recapped or anything, but it's not every 90 minutes. Like, I'm pretty sure it took like 113 minutes for it to erupt. And so we were standing out there for like 20 minutes just waiting. And I'm like, no, it has to be any minute. And it finally did. And it was just a little like,
no.
That
really?
was it. I was like, maybe because it's cold and snowy, it didn't look as good, but I stood out there for 20 or 30 minutes and my friends were mad at me because I made them stand out there with me. I mean, I think it probably has some eruptions where it's like crazy big because you see it in pictures, so it has to.
Yeah, that's like what I picture.
Yeah, but just that day, I think, because it was like snowy.
It's probably like you with
really
the smiling, like it knew you were watching it, and it was like,
Okay, so I found out that there's actually quite a few people on base who listen to our podcast, like who I work with. at drill
What?
and stuff. Yeah.
For real?
So our captain, her last name is Ocampo, and she listens, and she's like our squadron commander.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And then there's someone named Richardson, and he listens, and he like goes to drill with us. And then there's a few other people. I'll have to get their names so that I could give them shout outs.
Yeah,
But
that's awesome.
so those were the 2 shout outs I had, because they told me they're like, oh, are you releasing another podcast soon? And then I was walking past our captain, and she was like, oh, I'm listening to Everglades. I'm like, oh, that made my day.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. And it makes us like keep wanting to do it, because it's like sometimes it's like, does anyone even care? Like, but it's fun to do anyway. And that's another thing. Like if we won the lottery, I would still want to do this, because it's just like fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, we don't get paid now anyway.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, we're not making anything from this. It's just.
It is fun.
All right, so first we'll talk about a haunted place you can stay at Smoky Mountains National Park. And just outside of the park, there is the historic Grove Inn, and it opened in 1913. This grand hotel was the vision of Edwin Wiley Grove, who sought to create a world-class retreat where visitors could escape into the beauty of the mountains while enjoying elegance and comfort. Did you happen to look at this place?
No, I didn't.
It's amazing. Like, it is like I meant to send you a picture. You could look it up real quick while I finish like talking about it. But the exterior is built out of massive granite boulders, and it's surrounded by hills, giving it an almost castle-like appearance. And inside the lobby, these 2 towering stone fireplaces that are 14 feet wide. So it's like, this place is like beautiful. So if you went there, if you want to like be more like bougie and fancy, you might want to stay here. But I do have like a camping place. You see it?
No, I said nice, you could still stay there.
What?
Do you not hear me? I keep asking questions and you're not answering them. I said, what's the place called? And then you ignored it. And then, so I didn't look it up. But then I asked, can you still stay there? And you're like, you saw it, right? And I'm like,
oh, okay.
No.
It's, did I not give the name of it? Oh, the Grove Park Inn.
I think you did. I just didn't hear it. Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah. That doesn't even look like it would be in this country.
I almost thought that I had like the wrong. I was like, is this in the right place? Like when I saw it, I'm like, the place is crazy nice.
Yeah.
So the most famous spirit here is the Pink Lady. Her legend dates back to the 1920s when a young woman, and some say she was a guest, others say she was a mistress to a wealthy man, plunged from the 5th floor's palm court balcony to her death in the atrium below. No one knows for sure if it was an accident, a tragic suicide, or if she was pushed. Guests and staff have reported seeing a misty pink apparition drifting through the halls, especially around room 545, where she supposedly stayed before her death. I think that's interesting that she appears in pink, too. I like that.
Yeah, because usually it's a lady in white. That's why.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was going to say that earlier.
I think, I'm not exactly sure why she turns up in pink. I think someone, like one thing I saw, it said that she was wearing a pink dress when she died or something.
I wonder what like the color pink represents, because you know how like different things represent.
Right, like
white, I'm sure it represents something.
So some guests claim to wake in the middle of the night with a gentle tickling sensation on the bottom of their feet when no one is there. It's like, no. Did you see that?
What was that?
I think we have effects on.
What? That
I think
was
we have
terrifying.
Effects.
No, I get what that means, but it was just terrifying.
For anyone listening who's can't see this, some bubbles appeared on my screen when I flickered my hands. Like, I think it was an effect.
Understand. I didn't press anything, and I don't see anything on my end that would indicate we have some kind of effects. That's weird. Maybe it was the lady in pink.
Maybe
get in.
She liked when I was talking about her adventures.
If I said, if you're the lady in pink, do that again, and it did it, I would immediately log off the podcast and be done for the day. Yes, I would. I would be like, we'll circle back tomorrow at a better time. Not trying to receive messages today from the past.
Other people report a sudden drop in temperature and the scent of old perfume or the overwhelming feeling that they're being watched. So they say that for the Pink Lady, children seem to be her favorite. Many kids have described an invisible friend as the nice pink lady. Wait, I'm sorry. The nice lady in pink who plays with them or leaves them small, unexplained gifts behind. But for adults, the encounters are often more unsettling. Cold hands brushing against their skin, electronics flickering with no reason, and the unmistakable sensation of being followed down the empty hallways. And the tickling of the feet, right? But they say that the Pink Lady isn't alone at the Grove Park Inn. Staff members talk about a shadowy figures slipping through the doorways, phantom footsteps echoing in the vacant corridors, and disembodied whispers in the dead of night. A former security guard even reported an eerie experience in the basement, where he swore he heard voices and laughter coming from an empty, locked storage room. When he finally worked up the nerve to look inside, the room was icy cold and completely empty.
Have any of the ghost people been there?
I didn't look.
Like taps or ghost
Yeah, I need
adventures?
to get better at that. I keep forgetting to look.
Oh, it's okay. I was just curious.
Because I could never find the episode, so I kind of just stopped looking. So that's all I have for the inn. But like I said, there's a campground later, so there would be another spooky place to stay if you didn't want to be as bougie and stay at this huge place. You may have noticed from when you did your episode, but there are several abandoned towns within the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah. I was gonna mention all of them, but they're the most that I could find information on was Proctor. So that's why I mentioned Proctor.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of
there's a lot. And they said this was primarily because of the establishment of the park in the 1930s. So there were settlements where people were living, but then they, when they established the park, people had to move out. And so the residents sold their property to the national parks, and then it just became abandoned. So one of them is Cades Cove, and it's a long abandoned settlement from the 19th century. It was once a thriving pioneer community. Its empty cabins, weathered churches, and silent graveyards now stand as echoes of the past. People came here back in the day to build their lives, start families. You know how they do. Cades Cove was home to a tight-knit group of settlers who faced all sorts of challenges together. And with all the national parks, all these settlers, their lives were incredibly hard. So we know how deadly and harsh that can be. The Primitive Baptist Church still stands in Cades Cove. And I think that's its actual name. At first I thought they were just saying that it was a primitive, an old Baptist church, but I think that's actually what it's called. And among the many legends tied to this historic place, one ghostly figure stands out. It's the woman in white. And I think since we've all established that there's always a woman in white, I wish that they would name them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish they'd be
she's everywhere.
Well, that's what I mean. We all know that they show up in white. So let's just name them something different.
Well, why don't we name them? And then
okay, then let's call her the Cades Cove Lady.
Oh, I thought you meant a general name for all of them.
Misty of Cades. Misty,
Misty.
Like a misty ghost. So we're going to refer to her as Misty of Cades Cove.
Okay.
She's often seen near the church, standing still, lost in sorrow. And according to legend, she was a young bride, full of hope for her future, but tragedy struck her soon after her wedding. Her dreams of a life in the cove were cut short, and in her death, her spirit lingers forever waiting for her husband she never grew old with. Ghost brides have it bad. Why are there so many ghost brides?
Yeah, I noticed that the women in white are always sad.
Maybe they call them brides. Maybe they don't actually know. Maybe they just say brides because they're in white and they just kind of assume.
Maybe.
Travelers have reported seeing her on the road, drifting towards the church in a flowing white dress. But just as quickly as she appears, she vanishes, leaving only an eerie sense of longing in her wake. A hiker who was walking along the trail near the church described hearing a woman's voice singing, soft, haunting, and it was almost like a lullaby. And when he looked around to see where it was coming from, he didn't see anyone. And it's not just her. People also talk about a ghostly figure of a man who can be seen walking around old Cades Cove Cemetery, which is next to the church. The man is dressed in old-fashioned clothes, and sometimes he's seen with a lantern in hand, walking on the edge of the graveyard, almost like he's on a mission. So I was thinking that maybe he was like a groundskeeper at one point, but they say that he has no real connection to the place. But I don't know how they can actually know that.
Mm-hmm. He could have just been like way back, you know, before all of like anything was there. Right. He could have just been like someone who was exploring or venturing, or
before Cades Cove even started.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, some say he's a wanderer, a soul lost in time. Maybe you're right. There's another story about an old woman who haunts one of the cabins in Cades Cove. They say that she was a witch, or at least someone who dabbled in the supernatural, and she lived in isolation. She lived in isolation and had a reputation for being strange. Some people say when she died, she was buried in an unmarked grave, and now visitors to the cabins report strange noises, like someone calling their name or footsteps echoing when no one's around. And one of the creepiest parts about Cades Cove is it actually has time abnormalities. So some people claim they've lost track of time while driving through the cove. They said they'll look at their watches to find that hours have passed when they thought it was only a few minutes. There's a theory that the area's energy, especially around the church and the cemetery, has the ability to bend time, pulling visitors into another realm, even if just for a short period. That'd be weird, right?
I believe it.
Mm-hmm. So another abandoned town deep in the Smoky Mountains is the ghost town of Proctor. It sits in eerie silence, its past buried beneath time and water. Once a booming logging town on Hazel Creek, Proctor thrived with sawmills, homes, and a railroad. In the 1940s, Fontana Dam was built to generate hydroelectric power for the war effort, flooding the valley and cutting off Proctor from the world. When the forests were gone, so was the industry, and the town withered. Today, its crumbling ruins stand as a haunting reminder of what once was. And one of the most eerie things I think about Proctor are the cemeteries that are submerged beneath the lake. Some of them were completely submerged when the lake was filled. So there are like actual graves beneath the water. So I guess they tried to relocate a lot of them before the flood. So they don't know how many were relocated, but they couldn't move all of them. So there are definitely some still under there. And the cemeteries that were located on higher ground were left stranded. And basically when the water rised, it cut them off from access. So like they're just like stranded there, which is kind of eerie too. It's like some stranded cemeteries.
Yeah, I think I was reading about the underwater graveyard of Smoky Mountains, and I was like, that's so creepy. Like, I would not want to swim there.
No.
You just never know when something's going to grab you.
That's like
or
all of
the bodies will float up if they weren't.
Oh, God. At this point, I think it just, yeah.
Because it's like disturbed ground now.
Right. So. Well, it's like the perfect storm of terror for us. So it's like, not only is it a ghost town underwater, and there's cemeteries, and there's dark water, and you're floating above them, so you don't know what is like gonna pop up and grab you. So there's just like no chance. So one person's description of Proctor, he said, the isolation combined with decaying structures evokes a sense of stepping back in time or perhaps into another realm entirely. It has a definite creepy vibe and likening to the experience of every post-apocalyptic novel you've ever read. The presence of the dilapidated buildings and cemeteries being reclaimed by nature add to the haunting ambience, which I definitely agree from all the pictures I've seen. Overall, the area around Fontana Lake is described as having a heavy, oppressive feeling, and hikers have often reported seeing ghostly lights above the water. A local fisherman talked about an experience while night fishing, and he was near the old settlements beneath the lake. So, he was like floating above, kind of like what we were just talking about. And he said as he turned off his boat engine, he heard muffled voices and church bells ringing coming from beneath the water.
Ew.
beneath the water. It's like, oh my God, that is our nightmare.
That's
He knew there were no churches that remained on the shore and no other boats were nearby. So he was spooked. He turned on his engine and sped away from the area.
As one should.
As one should. Can you imagine hearing stuff underwater?
I wouldn't even be caught out on the water. If I knew, well, knowing what I know, I would not go out there.
Me either. Mm-hmm. Scary. Okay, so if you're hiking through the town, so not the underwater part, obviously, some people have reported hearing the faint sound of a train that hasn't run in over a century, a woman in white, again, seen gliding through the ruins at dusk, and shadowy figures darting between the trees as if the townspeople are still walking through the abandoned streets. And then adding to Proctor's eerie reputation is the infamous road to nowhere. When they flooded the lake and headed, they displaced everyone. The government had plans to build a road leading back to the old family cemetery so that people could still visit their loved ones. But funding ran out, so the project was abandoned. So there's a 6-mile stretch of road that ends with a tunnel and then vanishes into the wilderness. So it's basically a road, a tunnel, and then wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
So hikers can still visit Proctor by crossing Fontana Lake or taking the Hazel Creek Trail. And you can camp at Proctor. It's located in the back country of the park, meaning that it's accessible by foot, boat. I wrote down board. Do you know what that means? Did I mess that up?
Foot, boat, or board?
Yeah. I must have wrote that down wrong.
A boardwalk?
I don't know. So I'm jumping back in and editing, and to clear up this mystery, when they say foot, boat, or board, they actually do mean paddleboard. I looked it up. It requires permits and reservations for overnight stays. The backcountry camping at Proctor is considered primitive, which means you'll be camping in a more natural, undeveloped area, so there's not like cabins and stuff. I watched the story on It Happened to Me, and this guy was camping at Proctor. And so he set out alone on a trip near the road to nowhere. So he parked by the tunnel before he was hiking Bear Creek Trail. He stumbled upon an old shack. His hiking book warned him to stay out of it because it was like there's bat guano. So they said you can't really stay in the cabins because there's like too much bat poop, basically. So he pitched his tent nearby, and it was raining that night. Sometime around 1 a.m., he woke up to hear a voice just outside of his tent that said, "Go home. You need to go home. It's dangerous up here." He was startled. He unzipped his tent, expecting to see like a park ranger, like warning him, but there was no one around. So the rest of the night, obviously, he was restless. He couldn't really sleep. At dawn, he pressed on, but the forest seemed different. A bear appeared and stalked him for miles. So the reason he knew it was stalking him was because he took a video of the bear when he saw it. And then when he watched it later, he and his wife were like, that bear has been in the background this whole time. So like for miles, that bear had been like, just like hanging out behind him. The bear finally lost interest. The guy stepped on something that felt unnatural. And so he's like, what the heck? And he looked down, and a rattlesnake was coiled beneath his boot.
Oh, God.
Somehow he got lucky enough to escape and didn't get bit or anything. And this guy is alone, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then later that day, another bear crossed his path. But luckily, this bear was like, whatever. So the guy, at the end of the night, he decided to camp again. And he said he was at campsite 98, which was kind of close to where he was that first night. He must have like circled around. At around 1 or 2 a.m., the voice returned. It said, "You need to go home. You need to get out of here. What are you doing here?" And again, he tore the tent open, and there was nothing. He ended up leaving the next day. And on the way back to his car, he ran into the park ranger he mentioned like what happened on his trip. And the ranger's face darkened. He's like, "You were camping up there? We're baiting bears in the area, and that's extremely dangerous." So it's like those voices that he had heard.
Yeah.
were like kind of warning him, like, you shouldn't be here. It wasn't a ranger. So he's like, I don't know if it was like my guardian angel and this guy like does not believe in spirits. So he was like, I don't know what it was. He goes, I heard there's ghosts of people who used to live there. I don't know if it was like some guardian angel trying to warn me, but like, like 3 like really scary things happened to him. So I thought that was
what does that mean, baiting bears? Like they're trying to like move them, or
I'm wondering maybe they're trying to tag them.
Oh,
they were baiting. They had bait out for the bears.
Yeah,
like they put out food and like.
Well, I understand that, but like I didn't know the purpose. Like if they were trying to relocate them or like. Oh, okay.
I don't know. But the guy, when he was telling a story, he's like, I think they probably should have said something about that.
Well,
you know, like put signs up like no camping right now. We're trying to.
Or hiking. Mm-hmm. Don't come here right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it wasn't like a scary something is what it sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, he was freaked out because no one was there, but he said it sounded like a regular man's voice. Like it was just like it wasn't eerie or creepy or raspy or whispery. It was just like, he said he actually thought it was a park ranger.
Yeah.
Because it just sounded like a guy, like right outside of his tent. All right. So now we're going to talk about one of the creepiest legends. And I'm using this as a cryptid, but I don't know if it's actually, you'd consider it a cryptid.
I think it is.
The legend of Spearfinger. Had you heard of that when you?
Yeah. When I was going through my stuff, I think it was in something I sent you. Because it was like, sometimes when I see like haunted and I see things that would not like match mine, I won't even read it. I'll just send it to you. But I did see Spearfinger. I have no clue what it is though.
And it's exactly what it sounds like. Spearfinger is part of the Cherokee folklore, and she's not like a nice, cute little forest spirit or helpful creature. She's freaking terrifying. And she's said to haunt the Smoky Mountains, especially around the Tennessee-North Carolina border, where the Cherokee people once roamed. In legends, she's a wicked, shape-shifting woman, a witch-like creature with horrifying distinct features. Her long, sharp, stone-like finger. Gross. And
I looked up a picture.
You're looking it up?
I looked it up, yeah.
Okay.
She just looks like an old witch lady.
Yeah. It's not just a terrifying physical trait, the finger, that is. It's a deadly weapon. Her finger is said to be able to pierce through the flesh of her victims, and it's what she uses to rip out their hearts. Oh. And what makes Spearfinger truly terrifying is her ability to blend in with people around her. She's known to take the form of an old, harmless-looking woman, and she'll approach people, especially children, pretending to be someone that they can trust. Sometimes she's said to even offer help or food to her unsuspecting victims. And she knows how to appear sweet and gentle, lulling you into a false sense of security.
I was going to say, it reminds me of the witch from Snow White.
Yeah.
Because you know how like she like lured her in and she was acting.
When
like,
she had the apple. Was that Snow White?
Yeah, because and she changed. Like.
And didn't she also have a pointy finger?
Yeah. It reminds me exactly. Maybe that's where the inspiration for Snow White came from.
That could be.
That'd be interesting, yeah.
But once you get too close, she'll reveal her true monstrous nature, using her sharp spear finger to end your life in the most terrifying way possible. The worst part is her favorite target is children. She's said to be especially drawn to young ones, luring them into the woods with promises of safety, food, or even a playful chat. Once she's captured them, she uses her terrifying finger to cut out their hearts, stealing their essence, leaving nothing but a lifeless body behind. Ooh. And And because she's such a skilled shapeshifter, no one knows who she actually is. We don't really know why she does this, but the legend does get a little bit darker. Some say that Spearfinger was a vengeful spirit who once lived among the Cherokee people. She had a magical ability, but over time, she became twisted, using her power for harm. The Cherokee believed that she was driven by a deep hunger or an insatiable craving for hearts. I don't know why hearts, but...
Ew.
she was said to be consumed by this need, and over time it led her to become the monstrous creature of the legend that she is today. There are even some personal encounters that have made people wonder just how much of the legend is real. Were you adding something?
Oh no, I was just looking up to see if Snow White and Spearfinger were the same, but it came up with like YouTube videos, so I will look later. I don't think so.
I mean, probably not.
Yeah, but it just seems very like familiar, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like it seems like that is all, because I'm pretty sure like the witch in Snow White transformed into like someone that she could trust. Like,
I think she did.
Yeah, like she was like just a like regular townswoman. I don't know. Maybe I have to watch Snow White again, but just from what I remember, and then Snow White like wanted to help her, and then like she offered her an apple, which put her to sleep. So it's like I just feel like it seems like the same thing. Shape shifting, offerings.
And for some reason, I do remember like her pointing too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she
You remember
did.
that? So getting back to Spearfinger, there's a story of a family camping near a creek in the Smokies, and as the sun went down, they began hearing strange noises coming from the woods. They thought it was just animals, but then they saw a figure moving through the trees. An old woman who seemed to appear and then disappear with no explanation. When they investigated further, they found footprints that didn't match anything they'd ever seen before. They were large, claw-like prints that seemed to go on forever. Some say it was Spearfinger stalking the edges of the campground, her hunger never satisfied. And there's also stories from the Cherokee people who use magic to protect themselves from Spearfinger. The tale goes that the elders of the tribe created a special charm to keep Spearfinger away. So basically, like if you were the thing, like you're safe.
Mm-hmm.
And some still believe that if you come across a charm or a piece of Cherokee protection while hiking in the Smokies, it might just keep Spearfinger at bay. So that's kind of cool. So that's all I have for the legends and stuff of Smoky Mountains. I like that a lot of it is the abandoned towns and stuff.
I know. I like that stuff too.
And I was watching someone's video on YouTube or Reel or something, and I know you had mentioned it. Like there was like an abandoned plane out there too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I talked about that too in my
Yeah, it's
episode.
like really eerie. So
right.
I made it through this episode without having to cough or anything. I was struggling. I feel like I look like I've been dead for like 2 days.
Yeah, you do.
I know. My eyes were like red. My lips are dry. I'm falling apart over here.
No,
I can barely hold it together.
Okay. And I think the next thing that we're going to talk about is Lassen Volcanic National Park.
I had never even heard of this place. I haven't touched it at all.
I've been there, but it is really tiny.
Where is it?
Yeah, me and Jeremy camped there when we went on our California trip.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't do a lot in there, so I didn't really get to
covered
explore.
like a large area.
Yeah, and I didn't even know it was a national park until we started doing this. So, yeah, but yeah, it seems really pretty from the pictures, and when I was there, it was nice. It's like open, and there's tons of like volcanic rock. So,
it's California.
Yeah, like northern, like above Yosemite. Well, we'll see you guys next week.
And I'll see you guys next week.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.